Hey, deserving listeners, it's time to watch 90 Day Fiancé and react to it. Let's get to the show.
No, thank you.
She's a lovely young lady, but a lot of Russian women like to come to America, and they promise marriage, sex, everything that goes with it to attract them. And then later they find themselves in trouble.
Yikes. The grandfather seemed like such a cool guy doing some grandfather jokes, which are even better than dad jokes. And then he says that. It's just like, now, is that possible? Sure, it's possible that some Russian people are up to no good when they're trying to get a green card. But to just assume that of Julia, which doesn't seem to be true, honestly. It seems like Julia genuinely really loves, or at least used to love, Brandon until now. And so this, what can only be considered xenophobic racism on some level, the prejudice, let's just say it's prejudicial, right? And unfair to just assume that. And it's too bad.
Do you worry that she might be using Brandon?
Very honestly, yes. You have to have your eyes open, your ears open. You don't want to be hurt.
Now, there's nothing wrong with worrying and wondering. There is something unfair about assuming the worst in someone just because of where they're from.
Julia, your neck. Oh, my. I say, Brandon, stop bite me. But for Brandon, this is fine. For this is not funny. I try and I like sit like this, but how she?
All right. So there's nothing wrong with getting a little bitey in the bedroom, if you will. Put that on a t-shirt. And sounds like she was mostly okay with it, but she's worried about what it's going to look like. And so she has this big thing to try to obscure it. All right. The mom sees it, and then she has to reveal it. So I don't know. Normally, I would just say, it's just one of those things. And the mom was concerned. The mom's like, oh, your neck. What's going on with your neck? Because it's normal for someone to be concerned about someone. And then she's like, oh, I don't want to tell you. And then suddenly the mom's like, oh. But in the so that little event, in an isolated, there's nothing notable there. But in the context of this family, that Brandon knows that the parents are going to probably see the neck, because that can last for a few days potentially. And Brandon is on purpose really going for, doing something that he knows is going to cause a mark. And then for the mom to be very attuned to it and call it out, it just makes me wonder. I would not be surprised, as I've been saying before, that the family and or the mom particularly have been through some significant childhood or lifetime sexual traumas of some kind. Usually when people have those kinds of histories, they have these kinds of issues. Even if Brandon had never experienced any kind of sexual trauma himself directly, when you're raised in a family with parents who have been traumatized, the children often will get issues regarding that. I've seen that before. So I don't know, it's just complete speculation around that issue, but it's hard not to comment on this interaction in context with the other things we've seen, the condoms in the room, the focus on Brandon's sexual life, the trying to deny his sexual life, all those kinds of things.
I say him, this is not funny, but him,
That's what
him bite me.
You did not. Brandon, how did that happen? You haven't been sleeping in the same room.
Under normal circumstances, the mom would change the subject because she has stated she doesn't want to learn about this information. So now she's diving in more. Why would you do that? If you don't want to hear this information, why are you diving into it more? So again, it just really points to something's going on in this mom's history, something significant. I would not be surprised. So now she's diving into this issue, seemingly trying to catch them being bad kids for having sex with each other, even though they're in their late 20s. So let's watch this.
You guys obviously didn't catch the fact that she wore a turtleneck the last couple days.
No, I guess we missed that. I can't believe you did that.
Stop embarrassing your son. Will you please?
Yeah, now I'm back on the grandfather side. Just stop embarrassing yourself. Just knock it off.
No, I need to. He grow up.
It comes with the age.
Yeah, but that's
He's 27.
He's 27.
I'm 87 years old, going to be 88. I'd still do that to a young girl.
What is going on with this conversation? Interesting. So the dad said, grow up. Grow up. Grow up. What is the growing up part? Why would Brandon do it to begin with? Julia is just like, I don't know what's happening right now. He really wanted to do it, and I was saying don't do it because it's going to leave a mark. And now I have these marks, and I've been trying to hide it. And what is happening in this conversation? Now the grandfather just said he would do it to me. Like, what is going on here? Again, I would not be surprised if there wasn't significant sexual trauma. Sexual trauma in families is common. Very, very common for a lot of reasons. One, you have a lot of predators out there who actually get pleasure from harming other people, and they tend to abuse a lot of people, and they're often in a family abusing other people. I don't know about this family, of course. But in a more common scenario, our society is so busted up about sexuality that it's hard not to have a weird complex around your own sexuality or viewing other people's sexuality. And so when you have a society that's very oppressive and shaming and has a lot of misinformation, then you are prone as a family to develop a very odd relationship with sexuality, which this family seems to have. And we're watching this and wondering what in the world this is coming from. If we knew this whole family history, maybe going back generations, because grandfather seems a little odd himself around sexuality. I don't know that for sure, but there certainly seems to be something going on. Then we would have a logical reason as to what led up to this event. But let's rewind that again.
Embarrassing your son. Will you please?
No, I need to. He grow up.
It comes with the age.
Yeah, but that's
He's 27.
He's 27.
I'm 87 years old, going to be 88. I'd still do that to a young girl if I had one. Come on.
Anyway.
So I don't know, but one of the things you'll see in some families with ongoing transgenerational sexual trauma is you will see each generation dealing with it in the opposite direction. You'll see one generation where sexuality is very out in the open, and that can be harmful to people, and they might also be coping with their own sexual trauma history by being very outward with their sexuality. And then the next generation, having watched the previous generation, they'll overcompensate and go to the other side, and they'll be very sexually repressive and be very sexually shaming. And then the next generation will watch that, and they'll swing all the way. They'll overcompensate by going over to the other side and being very outwardly sexual in a way that is bothersome to other people and invasive of other people. So who knows, but to apply that somewhat common scenario to this family, we have grandpa who seems a little bit outward. We have mom and dad who seem very repressive, even though they bring it up a lot, which is the paradox of that kind of approach. And then we see Brandon, who might be very outward about it. I don't know. There's almost no evidence of that. But as always, when I watch this, I use it as a jumping off point to talk about other kinds of things. So I don't know. Maybe we'll get more data along those lines.
Have you decided when you're going to have your marriage?
Yeah, we have date.
Huh?
We decided May 9th.
May 9th?
Really?
Yeah.
But that's also the weekend of Mother's Day.
Oh my God. Holy yikes. That is like a 3 yikes right there. I mean, you couldn't get more perfect. I'm guessing, I'm just predicting that in 3 years, when they summarize this season, that moment is going to be played among a few others. This is the cut on the bias of this season, if you know the Darcy and Jesse story. I mean, maybe the mom will follow up with something that will help us understand what's going on here. But these two are getting married. They're on a time crunch because of the 90-day thing. And they want to get married soon. And they say May 9th, and the mom's like, but that's Mother's Day. I mean, it just could not be more perfect. Now, again, maybe the mom will say, we agreed and we did all these preparations. Couldn't you pick a different weekend? Now that brings up another question. Did Brandon purposely choose Mother's Day for some odd reason? I don't know. Let's see what happens here.
You know,
May
they're
9th is just not a good day to do
It's
this.
not. It's Mother's Day weekend.
Yeah, I know. You don't want to
So-
share your day with their day.
Okay. So it is the way it looks. She doesn't want to share her day with their day. So you can have both. I've gone to weddings where it was Mother's Day or Father's Day or someone's birthday or someone's anniversary, and you can have both. Wow. Okay. So this is some new data because I wouldn't have thought that the mom would be this way. All right. So what's going on with this one? What is going on with this one? So to take it to an extreme, because we don't have more data, but to take it to an extreme where this would be the trailhead, so to speak, of a journey of exploration that might lead us to a conceptualization of self-importance, if you will. I'm going to avoid using labels because the internet tends to bastardize labels in my field, and so I try to avoid using labels that might be bastardized or are already being misused and distorted on the internet. But maybe the mom has a lot of self-importance, a lot of grandiosity, a lot of overblown entitlement, and where would that come from? So there are a lot of different places it comes from, but typically it comes from early childhood relational trauma. Big surprise there. But it's in a particular flavor. The way that it is typical is that as a child, you are neglected emotionally. You might not be overtly abused, but you might be abused, but you're definitely not paid attention to enough. You're definitely not given enough love and attunement. And so as a young child, you learn that as you have spontaneous wishes for people to love you or hold you or pay attention to you or comfort you or hear you or know you, you signal as a 1-year-old, you signal as an 18-month-old, as you signal to other people as a 2-year-old, and you're consistently given this message that you don't matter and that other people aren't necessarily there for you. And what you learn is, okay, 1, I can't depend on other people, and 2, I have to figure this out on my own. I have to become self-reliant. I have to become compulsively or pathologically self-reliant. And in that process, is you're dealing with a difficult situation, but in that process, you understand deep down that you are in a bad situation, that you're 2 years old, you don't really know how the world works, and that you're truly alone, but you know you can't depend on other people, so you start looking to the self. Now, you're caught between a rock and a hard place because on one hand, you're like, but I'm incompetent. I'm a child. I don't know the world. I don't know how to protect myself. I'm small. I don't have power in the world, but I can't depend on other people. But so I have to rely on the self. I can't look to other people, but the world is a scary place. You're not capable, but I don't have anyone else. So I have to rely on myself. Okay. So the way the ego resolves that is by saying, I am powerful. I can do things. I am good at things. In fact, I'm better than other people at things. And by convincing the self of that, then the other side is like, oh, looks like you got this because you're competent. You're even better than your parents. You're better than your siblings. You're better than you're a very special young woman who can do things for yourself. So two things happen there. Of you sacrifice a portion of your ego so that you can survive in the moment. You sacrifice empathy, you sacrifice the notion that other people matter because you need to rely on the self. Now, underneath all that is a vast sea, an ocean of emotion, if you will, of neglect and pain. But the self is like, I can't look there because if I look there, then all bets are off and I'll fall into that abyss and it'll be terrible. So I have to convince myself that I don't need other people. I also have to convince myself that I'm special because I'm scared, but you know what? I'm totally fine. And through that process, you end up believing that you're more important than other people around you. The second thing that happens here is that you are still basically a 2-year-old on the inside emotionally, because you've never been given a chance to grow up emotionally, because you've never been given the love and attention and attunement that you need in order to grow up. So when you are 2 or 3 or 4 and it's your birthday coming up and someone is going to have another birthday at that day, then you get very upset. You say, but that's my birthday. How come that's happening on my birthday? That's my special day. That's the day that I finally get in. So on one hand, you're very entitled, but on the other hand, there's this vast sea of neglect that you know is down there that you've experienced. And so you hold on to those special days and those special moments very, very tightly because it's the one time when you can kind of convince yourself that you matter in the world. And so I wonder if that's part of what's happening here. I don't have any information really to go off of other than this, this little moment. But it's interesting to think about, right? And if we think about the previous behavior, it might explain a lot of those things too. And it would explain the possibility, the hypothesis around Brandon not knowing who he is. Because when you're raised by someone that's like that, you could understand how, as you were growing up, you wouldn't be given enough attunement. If you believe you're special and you have a childhood or a childish, a very young version of emotional maturity, that is going to make it difficult to truly attune and listen to a child as you're raising them. Again, it is total speculation. I am bringing up some very heavy things, and I always have to remember that often the people on the show watch this channel. They will email me and say, hey, I watched. And so it's not like the old days when I could put up a video on YouTube and know that almost no one would see it. Now I have to reckon with the fact that this mother might watch this video when it comes out. So I want to be clear to everyone, including the mother if she's watching, that I am making 100 billion assumptions and speculations here. There's so many other explanations for what is happening here, so many other possibilities. But I would say with some confidence that a strong hypothesis would be that this family and this mother have been through a lot, and that is definitely affecting what's happening today.
May 9th?
Really?
Yeah.
But that's also the weekend of Mother's Day.
That
You know,
May
they're
9th is
just
just not a good day to do
It's
this.
not. It's Mother's Day
Yeah,
weekend.
I know. You don't want to
So-
share your day with their day. Terrible day to have a wedding.
Thank you.
I agree.
Mother's Day in this country is a very special day.
This celebration this day, 9.
Yes, Mother's Day is very special, but weddings much higher, culturally speaking. If someone told me that they were getting married on Mother's Day, my mother takes Mother's Day pretty seriously too, she would be okay with it. Oh boy. I can't imagine what the internet is doing with this scene right here.
Oh, in Russia?
No. When him write me first message, date 9.
Oh, the day was the 9th.
Yes, because him write me first message, you look like my future wife.
You might want to rethink this and separate.
Your anniversary from
Anniversary
Mother's
is-
Day.
I don't care.
All right, interesting. So he is saying, I don't care. Now, what does this mean? Maybe he'll reveal some more here. But it's, like I said, it's possible that he chose Mother's Day on purpose because he wanted to get back at his mom or something. So let's look at that. Let's sort of explore this for a second. The bites on the neck, the May 9th thing. Maybe this is all his extremely passive way of getting back at his mom. When you over-control a child and you eliminate the open communication around anger from a child, the child has to express their anger somehow because they're hurt and there's a lot of pressure building up inside of them with anger. And so what adult children will do, whether it's directed at the parent who originally did the high control or anyone else, is they will passively or in a hidden way express their anger. And it's possible, it's speculative, that for Brandon, he is very, very angry at his mom, and his way of expressing it is by explicitly and purposefully choosing Mother's Day because he knew the mom was going to be upset, and by biting Julia on the neck so that it would provoke the mom, and by telling the mom now of like, I don't care, it's on Mother's Day. So this is interesting. Now, on one hand, you would say, a lot of people would say watching the show, this is good. Brandon is breaking free of the mom. All right, I don't know, maybe. But on the other hand, the way he's going about this breaking free process is immature. There's much more mature ways of breaking free, such as, hey, Mom, you know what? I get that you're upset about Mother's Day, and Mom, I love you and I care about you. But you know what? My life is moving on. And the 9th is a big day for us, and so we want to have that on May 9th. It's a big deal to us. And I'm sorry about disappointing you. I get it. But we really want to get married on May 9th. You know, you take care of her while at the same time of asserting yourself. The way children assert themselves is the way Brandon is doing it right now, which is to do it in a hidden way. Mom has the reaction he thought, and then, I don't care. I don't care about your feelings. I don't care about your Mother's Day. I worry about where this is headed because I worry about a lot of things with this. So even if Brandon and Julia were able to get married and move out, and I worry about the two of them mainly because I worry about Brandon's development, and I wonder about his sense of who he is. It seems to be a factor playing itself out here. I don't know. Let's watch.
If Julia wants the 9th, I want to do the 9th. I feel good that we've got a date that makes Julia happy.
Oh boy, so this is like the direct opposite of what I would hope he would say, but totally in line with the hypothesis of a disconnection with the self. Instead of saying, this is a special day for us, and this is when I and Julia want to get married, it is, well, this is what Julia wants, so I'm just going to do what she wants. So as some of us have been hypothesizing, because I've read some of your comments, is that it looks like Brandon might be disconnected from the self due to the way he was raised and is transferring his control from mom controlling him to Julia controlling him. Now, some could argue that transferring to Julia is a better idea. It's more likely to be in line with his wants, but it doesn't bode well for him and their relationship. So let's rewatch that again. You know, there's two ways of saying this. One is well, the 9th is a really important day for us. And yeah, it bums me out that I'd have to hurt my mom's feelings with this. But you know what? Sometimes you just got to make that choice. And this is important for us. It's not what he said. Let's listen to what he said.
You might want to rethink this.
From Mother's Day.
I don't care. If Julia wants the 9th, I want to do the 9th. I feel good that we've got a date that makes Julia happy. My mom wasn't a fan of it, but it's our wedding.
Make the right decision, you know.
I think this is better for me. Date 9.
May 2nd probably is the better date.
Yikes. It's one thing for them to be upset, which, as upset as they've been, which I think most of us would say is unusual. It's another thing to continue to lay into them about it. Now, there's nothing wrong with Dad saying, hey, you know what? Mother's Day is a big deal to Mom, so maybe another day, maybe we can move this. But the way he's going about it, so the tone of this conversation makes me believe that the parents have had a lot of forceful conversations with Brandon, where they have asserted their will over Brandon in a lot of ways. And since the cameras are around, you have to wonder if the style of communication, the style of parenting to Brandon was much more forceful than what we're seeing here. So, this is actually getting into tough to watch territory for me, actually. Because if we're seeing the tip of the iceberg, which I wouldn't be surprised, then we are seeing into a very, very difficult family situation.
I think she has good reason for wanting the knife.
When I say what I want, Brandon parents all the time said, no, this is not good for you. Again, don't give me choice. Again, don't give me time for say what I want.
May, the 9th?
May. Just put another date yet.
Don't put it down.
Don't save the date yet. We're still working on it.
See that assumption that the parents still have control, even though the two of them have stated with no uncertain terms, it is May 9th. And I don't care that it's Mother's Day, and I don't even care about your feelings. And the parents are like, no, don't put it, save the date. I mean, this would be a good rom-com right here. You know, the sort of hapless grandfather. Oh, May 9th, okay. I figured out how to do a calendar. I'm going to do save the date. No, Grandpa, don't put it in there. We're still working on this. Oh, okay. You know, I don't know. Anyway, it's just interesting to see the rules of this family. As a family therapist, we're often looking at the pattern and the rules and the structure. And when you see behavior like this, it gives you a glimpse into the structure of the family, that the parents believe, we don't care that Brandon is putting his foot down and drawing a line in the sand. We're just going to step over that line because we're going to get our way. It's going to happen. And that shows us that it probably is an ongoing pattern, maybe for Brandon's entire life, which would make a lot of sense, you know? All right, well, that does it for that episode. Let me know what you think in the comments. I'm always curious about what you have to say. And please take care of yourself because you deserve it. You really, really do.